It's 4:30 on a mild January morning. We're in an old hunting lodge on the San Leonardo estate. The Venetians call these places valleys, wild marshland areas which stretch for miles, and they're nothing less than paradise for ducks and geese. Black coffee and delicious cake for breakfast has brought us round from a little too much wine last night, and a delicious dinner. Time to put our boots, waterproofs and camouflage jackets on. The boats are waiting, and I'm partnered with Alberto Franchetti, whose father knew Earnest Hemingway. They shot ducks together in the Venetian lagoon, and Hemingway used it all as a backdrop for his powerful novel Across the River and Into the Trees. Our head boatman, Daniele, will row us to our sunken barrels that Hemingway called blinds, somewhere out in the dark marsh.
This is one of the most beautiful and exciting moments of the hunting, and as you remember, Hemingway described it in his book very in particular.
So the boatman is at the end. He's using 2 oars, standing up, rather like a gondolier in a way.
Yeah, the big difference is that he row with 2.
Two oars.
When the gondolier row with 1. So this way of rowing is called alla valesana, which is in the valley way, and only in the valley you row like this.
A beautiful moment indeed, and it's all thanks to Marco Giol, who owns all this. His family bought it in 1957, and since then they've shot ducks in that old-fashioned way. No outboard motors here.
Passionate and proud of it, and it's not easy to keep it the way we try to keep it, of course, but this gives us a very big satisfaction at the end, because we have a quite long season. It's 4 months, and we normally enjoy different species of birds during all of the season, and only a few friends, because normally we have 6 guns, maximum 8 sometimes, and normally we shoot on Saturday morning, because this is what we used to do since ever in this area. It's great. Love it.
And Alberto was telling me that this is very much what Ernest Hemingway would have experienced. He would have come to a similar place and done exactly what we've done today.
Absolutely right. He loved shooting in valley. He was mainly shooting in the valley of the lagoon of Venice. We are in the delta of Po River here, but this is a very good area for this kind of shooting, and he's passed through this valley, by the way, in the past, but I'm not sure he did the shooting that day. Probably it was coming for other reasons. I don't know what. But yes, it's exactly the way he was doing it before, because nothing has really changed. The way we practice it was going out with the boats in the early morning with our rowers. We're taking out to our places for a 20, half an hour, 40 minutes row before getting to the place, and then we fix it. And depending on the conditions of the day and of the time of the year, of course, because in the very beginning of the year we normally shoot into smaller lakes with fresh water. And in this part of the year now, we're in January, we are shooting in the bigger lakes where birds prefer to have wide spaces to fly, widgeons in particular.
We get ashore in a very small island, I mean the length of a dinner table, which is called Tombolo, and has 2 barrels, and is surrounded by water. So, first thing to do is to approach. Second thing is to let the men go in first, discover the barrel, which are covered during the week by a cover which protects from rain. See if nothing is in the barrel, because sometimes you can find snakes or funny animals or rats. Clean it and prepare for us, and then we will go down.
So now he checks in with the torch to see if there's anything in there.
You can have a very bad surprise sometimes.
Yes, we don't want to get in there with anything nasty, do we?
Exactly. You can have funny surprises sometimes.
The barrels are more like concrete manholes, superbly dry with revolving seats and lined with canvas full of pockets for cartridges, flasks of bouillon, coffee and sandwiches. So now we're ready for the dawn, but not before the decoys have gone out.
He's now putting a mallard.
Now this is a live bird that you use.
Bird, yes. His live bird is linked to a little rope on his leg, and the rope is attached to a heavy stone, and he will sing and call sometimes birds. That's a lot of discussions also about that, because
and it's perfectly legal. This is a legal thing that you're allowed to do.
Yes, there is a lot of bureaucracy on that, which means that you have to declare these birds at the beginning of the season, to count them. They have a special rings put by the government. They are very happy to do this work for you, which means that you will hear the way they swim. Okay, you can hear now. You see, as soon as she's put in the water, she's happy and she sings. Anyway, there is a big discussion about these live birds, because some hunters can put even 10 or a dozen. Some say that they disturb approaching flocks of widgeons, because especially the female of mallard, as we just heard, has a very strong voice. Okay, this is a male coming. So we will have one male and one female.
And in addition to the live decoys, Alberto is a dab hand with his own duck calls.
Now it's a season for widgeons and mallard. The best calls, as you know, are American. There is a very good tradition in America, in the United States, for mallard, and you have an incredible choice. And you order them today. You order them by internet, and they come from small villages of Louisiana, and made by artisans. It's a beautiful tradition of America, and I can let you hear that.
One down. So that was a shot. Alberto's made his first shot, and there's a bird down. Looked like a mallard, I think. Alberto tries his best to call the many packs of widgeon that whistle in over our heads, but most of them carry on out across the water towards Marco. He's in another barrel on a small island in front of us. Over, too high. Left, 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 left. Ah! They seem to just keep turning and coming back and having a look, and then they sweep away again, but that doesn't mean to say they won't come back. The shooting goes on until lunchtime, and then it's time for Marco to give us some idea of the bag.
Not really many today. It was just 12. Probably the worst day of the year.
And then another boat came back, and they had quite a lot in that second boat.
I think 25 or something like that. But the average bag we take back home, each place, one place means 2 guns, is probably around 50. Mm-hmm. Okay, but we don't look much at the number, but we look at the quality of what we're doing the day there, and the bouquet of the birds. They come back with us, because not only widgeons, but mallards and all the other species which are normally living and passing through these places before going to Africa or back to the northern countries.
It was marvellous to see the great numbers of widgeon here, hundreds and hundreds of them passing over and some of them were never going to come within shooting range. But even so, they were here, and had the weather been different, I think it could have been quite a spectacular day, couldn't it?
Yes, correct. As normally in November, December, January, we have important number of buskers to take backs of birds, and widgeons in particular. But I have to correct only one thing, because the thousand of widgeons, they've been coming so close to us that we should have shot them today, but we didn't, because we never shoot in the big branches of birds, because we want to preserve them. I mean, we prefer to have little numbers of birds coming up by the time, not all together. Because
so you wouldn't, if you had a big flock of widgeon, even within shooting range, you wouldn't shoot at them?
Not even if I have done only 5 shot birds counts in the day. No, I prefer to watch them and enjoy the flying there, and I know they are still living in my valley, and the next day will be another day.
It's marvellous, isn't it? And this hunting lodge of yours, you've kept it in this very traditional style. It's so comfortable, it's so simple and warm, and that's what you like. You like the authentic feel of it.
Only authenticity. And this regards not only the Valle, the Casone, which is a lodge you mentioned, but also the friends are coming here. I mean, it's something which is absolutely indispensable to keep the way going this way, even, of course, if we are making a lot of improvements here, because we also have a Wi-Fi.
Yes, okay. Goodness me, that's... and a television, I noticed, as well.
Yes, but we never use it. It's just there for maybe some other reasons, not for me.
Yeah. Well, Marco, it's been really marvellous. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And as a wildfowler myself, it's just been great to see how you go about shooting ducks in this very unique way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kate. It's been a pleasure having you here today.
Well, as you may have gathered, that was a remarkable trip, and as part of it we just had to stay at the very special Gritti Palace Hotel on the Grand Canal. Reason? Well, it's where Hemingway always stayed when he went to Venice, and of course it featured greatly in his book Across the River and Into the Trees. Paolo Lorenzoni is the general manager, and following our trip there, he's been talking to Marco about setting up 1 or 2 special visits to San Leonardo, which would include a stay at the Gritti, and, if you really want to push the boat out, stay in the Hemingway suite. It may sound a bit corny, but it's the room that Hemingway used, and it occupies a lovely corner position in the palazzo with amazing views of the Grand Canal.
The hotel was opened in 1948, and in 1949 he was here. And in that suite that he wrote the book Across the River into the Trees, where he mentioned several places of Venice, also mentioned the hunting. And in that book he was injured during the Second War. He came here to just recovering. And he mentioned about the Gritti, about the Harris Bar, about the Locanda Cipriani, and about the wines that he loved, like the Perrier-Jouet or the Valpolicella. Yes, hunting in Venice is not strange, because hunting in Venice, you are in the lagoon. And there is 2 types of hunting. I think when you go in the barrel,
yes,
or with the boat. And then the husband wake up early in the morning, like at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and backyard they're going down near to the Po River, and there they stay in the barrel. They go the night before, they sleep there, then wake up early in the morning, the hunting, and then they come back here in the afternoon.
Which is exactly what we've just done, and it's been an amazing experience.
And I think that for a couple it's important, because you are not going to hunting in the middle of nowhere. You are going to hunting near to Venice. That is only 1 hour and a half driving, or 1 hour. And your wife can spend 1 day alone here in Venice, in a safety city, and look. Both of them have the nice time. For the man, he can hunting. For the lady, can look at any exhibition, have historical buildings, or shopping as well.
So there it is. What a combination. A few days exploring Venice, culminating in a thrilling trip to Marco's ancient hunting lodge. You couldn't really want for anything else. I've done many a dawn flight, but this one was very special. Rowing out in the darkness to our sunken barrels with that rhythmic sound of oars splashing in the water and the distant sounds of whistling widgeon, it all felt like a dream.